My new book, An Eye to the Hills, is the final part of my trilogy of hill and mountain memoirs, following There's Always the Hills and Come by the Hills. In this new book, I've taken a long and considered look at some of the newspaper columns I've written over the past 40 years or so. I wrote a weekly column in my local newspaper for 32 years, and in the Herald, formerly the Glasgow Herald, for about 25 years. And these various essays clearly show how things have changed in that time, and indeed, how many things have not changed. The mountains themselves, thankfully, remain largely inviolate and immutable. As the great writer Patrick McGill once observed, the spirit of ancient mightiness still offers life-affirming experiences to those who seek them. But it's also pretty evident that progress in terms of environmental management and conservation in Scotland is a glacially slow process. I was writing about land reform, raptor persecution, ski development and deer fencing over 30 years ago. And there has been very little positive movement in any of these issues in the intervening years. I published my first article about climate change in 1978, and sad to say we haven't really advanced very far in our fight against global warming. But on a more positive note, I'm encouraged how many people today value the therapeutic benefits of nature, and how access to the hills and wild places can have such a positive effect on those who suffer from depression and other mental illnesses. 30 years ago, I said I look forward to the day when doctors would prescribe a day on the hill instead of a course of drugs. I'm delighted to say that's now happening. Throughout the pages of this new book, I've reflected on many of the delights, joys and challenges the mountain life can offer, our relationship with wildlife, the benefits of slow adventure, the challenge of multi-day trips, fighting the weather and tackling steeper ground, the scrambling terrain that takes us into that grey area between the domains of the walker and the rock climber. But above all, it's the sheer joy of being in the hills that I think is the overriding message of this book. The psalmist once suggested we lift our eyes to the hills, a recognition that the hills and mountains can provide us with inspiration, revelation and illumination. Something I and many others have been doing for a long, long time.